on the hand. Hi everyone, welcome back to Art-Cher. Today I'm going to show you how to draw some figures. So I have a ruler, and you can use just a pencil for this and just follow along with me. Okay, so we're going to talk about our figure like units. So the first thing we're going to do is divide our body into 7.5 or 8 heads. I'm going to start with 8 heads. So we have to decide like what is the size of our first head. So we are going to start with a ruler, and I'm going to use a 1-inch mark. So I'm just going to kind of measure off on my ruler at the 1-inch mark, and that's going to be the size of one of my units, which is a head. So just go ahead and go down your paper and measure off the same size units. So if you have a ruler, this is great. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I've got my 8 units there. Okay, now within the first block, we're going to make a head. So we're going to start with an oval. And you just go around. You don't want it to be too round. Okay, and there's my oval. Now, I like to do the spine, and I kind of think that the body is broken up into half sections. So the first 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, the first units are going to be made up of the top half of the body, the torso. Okay, so I'm going to put that spine kind of going in like this. All right. Where I have my chin, I'm going to leave a little bit of a space. Think that you're going to have a neck right there. And then I'm going to draw what would be my rib cage in here. So rib cage is going to come down, okay, about halfway in between these two sections. So if I draw my rib cage and I draw this bone that's going across there, that's going to be about 2 sizes of your head, the width of your head. So I'm going to put, this kind of looks like a rib cage, something like that. Okay, now I want that to be down about halfway, and this is going to help you when you leave this little space open here. So at this mark here, this is where I'm going to have my pelvic bone. And the pelvic bone tends to look a little bit like a heart shape, and you want to keep it about the same width as your rib cage. So I'm just going to come around like this. Now, some people like to make it a box. I just like to make this shape because it's kind of like the pelvic bone. So it does matter if you're making a male or female. We'll talk about that in a minute. Okay, now your femur bone. Your femur bone's going to go down to this mark here. So if I start my femur bone up a little bit, okay, and I put the little socket, we don't want that to come out further than our shoulder blade over here. It's your clavicle bone. And I'm going to put my knee going down at this mark. Okay. And we can have our foot coming down here. Okay. So again, we're going to have femur bone. Okay. Now, I like to circle my joints, as you saw that. Circle my joints. So I'm going to circle my joint up here. This is for my humerus. And if you put your arm down, you're going to notice that your elbows are right in that center part where you don't have 2 bones. Like this is actually the part that you can kind of push in. Your hand, if you actually had your hand laying flat against your body like this, your hand is actually going to come about halfway down your femur bone. So we can draw this, draw our ulna and radius, and just draw it as one, kind of bring it down, and then we're going to have our fingertips go about halfway down. So there's going to be my hand. So this is just really stiff person if you were looking actually directly at this person. And normally somebody's going to be a little animated. This is a very stiff kind of looking person because they're just straight looking at you. You know, could be looking off to the side a little bit, but this is how we're going to draw this person. Okay, now I'm going to switch colors here to show you. Now we're going to put the meat on the bones. First thing I like to do is I'll put a little bit of a face in there. Okay, so if I divide my head in half, and I kind of just put little kind of marks here, okay, the halfway down, and then another mark in between the end of my chin and where my eyes went. I'm just going to put another little mark, and then in between there one more time, that is where your mouth goes. Okay, and I'm going to put some hair on this person. So hair pops off of the head. All right, we're going to do that. So I'm just kind of popping some hair in there. Okay, we can chisel the face up a little bit. Okay, now I'm going to bring down the neck. Think of the neck as going from the side of the head, kind of curve in a little bit and just come down. Okay, so we don't want this really pencil thin neck, but we don't want something super thick. What is this person wearing? Is it just a U collar or a V collar? So you're going to put that collar on first. And I'm going to bring the shirt, the clothing, back behind my bones. Okay, so I'm going to come around and come down. Let's put some wrinkles. Okay, we're going to come down and think of like how long your shirt is. If you have a long sleeve shirt, that's what this is going to be. Okay, and we're going to bring this down same way. A couple little wrinkles. We always have wrinkles where, you know, our clothes kind of fold up a little bit, especially at our joints. Okay, and I'm going to have that kind of come around like that. All right, and right in here, we're going to kind of get a little bit of shape. So right in here, let's give this a little bit of shape. Okay, and usually your shirts or whatever are going to come down at least to about there. Okay, so let's get this, weave that down a little bit. There we go. Okay, let's do a little hoodie on the back. A little bit like that. Okay, and maybe some tags. Okay, now we're going to have a little space. Okay, so when our pants are on, they're kind of a little bagging down a little bit. I'm going to do this, a little bit of looseness around our legs. Okay. Don't forget these wrinkles. It's the wrinkles that are going to make it look like fabric. Okay. Put some pockets over to the side there. And if you're going to draw a shoe, it might kind of look like this. And in the front here. Okay. So that is our 8-head figure. Okay, you could go a little smaller as far as 8 heads. It doesn't have to be exactly 8 heads. A lot of them are counted 7.5. There's different ways to do this. It's definitely more interesting when you have a different view of your person.